Good afternoon and welcome to Midday Report here on TVP World. I'm your host, Marie Cato. A Polish citizen has been detained in the Belarusian town of Lepel on charges of espionage. According to Belarusian state TV, he was allegedly gathering information about the upcoming Zapad 2025 military exercises. Polish authorities have condemned the incident as a provocation and say they are preparing retaliatory measures.
Belarus has detained a Polish monk, Grzegorz G., on charges of espionage. He is accused of gathering intelligence about the upcoming Belarusian-Russian Zapad military drills scheduled for next week. Polish officials have dismissed the allegations, calling the arrest a political provocation.
Our intelligence services categorically reject this. We will not tolerate such provocations and nonsense coming from the Belarusian side. I still do not have a clear understanding of the purpose of the Jesuit's visit. Based on the information available to me, he was visiting a fellow priest who works in Belarus, and that's all we know for now. We are taking diplomatic steps, but as you know, Lukashenko is far from being a reliable partner in such matters. We should not expect goodwill from that side. Let me be clear, we are preparing retaliatory measures in case this situation does not change, and we will act swiftly. Once Minister Sikorski returns, we will develop a comprehensive response plan for the coming weeks regarding Belarus. We know what kind of regime this is. We know what to expect from it. We've already started intergovernmental consultations on how to respond to this. I'm convinced the matter will not go unanswered.
According to Belarusian investigators, Grzegorz G. has received classified documents from a Belarusian citizen, whom he promised monthly payments in exchange for details about the command structure and military counterintelligence staff. Belarusian border guards have already tried to carry out a similar provocation earlier, when Prime Minister Donald Tusk visited the border. On that occasion, they sent armed, masked soldiers, and now a Polish citizen has been apprehended. It's not true that Polish security services have at any time used members of the clergy to acquire any information about Belarusian military drills. An espionage case has been opened under the Belarusian Criminal Code. If convicted, the Polish national could face up to 15 years in prison.
Poland is extending its buffer zone along the Belarusian border, introducing another 90 days of restricted access in response to a surge in illegal crossings. Over 13,000 attempts have been made this summer alone, an 83% jump from last year. The Polish Ministry of the Interior says Belarusian forces are actively aiding these crossings, targeting Polish troops with lasers, stones and even firearms. The zone, stretching over 78 kilometers, remains sealed off. In some areas, it reaches up to 4 kilometers deep into Polish territory. Minister Marcin Kierwiński calls the buffer essential to protect Poland and the EU. The new order kicks in on September 6th and runs through to December 4th. Russia's full-scale war against Ukraine continues with overnight strikes targeting the Kharkiv and Dnipropetrovsk regions. This comes as Western leaders are still working to include the United States in defining security guarantees for Ukraine, while Russian President Putin repeats threats and offers proposals that Kyiv considers insincere.
The aftermath of another attack on a Ukrainian city by the Russians. This time it's Dnipropetrovsk and its capital Dnipro that bears most of the brunt.
They were shelling the plant just 20 meters away from us. As you can see, our windows were blown out. The explosion was very powerful. I've never heard anything like it before. My head just isn't working anymore. I couldn't sleep all night.
Strike comes after the Coalition of the Willing met in Paris, where 26 countries indicated a willingness to send troops to Ukraine to safeguard any future peace deal. According to French President Macron, the group also held a phone call with U.S. President Donald Trump to discuss American support.
The conclusion of this call is simple. In the following days, we will finalize the American support for these security guarantees. As I said, the United States is involved in every step of this process.
The American president told reporters that he would call Russian leader Vladimir Putin soon.
I will be, yeah, I will be. We're having a very good dialogue.
As for Putin, who comes fresh out of talks with China, there is little to suggest that he's willing to enter negotiations.
The Ukrainian side wants this meeting and is offering this meeting. I said I was ready. Please come. We will definitely provide perfect working conditions and safety. 100%. Guaranteed.
Kyiv has repeatedly dismissed the suggestion of President Zelensky traveling to Moscow. The Kremlin doesn't consider Zelensky to be legitimate, despite the fact that he was elected in free and fair elections. Zelensky traveling to Russia would be too dangerous and would signal capitulation.
I believe that Russia is doing everything it can to postpone this meeting. Our American partners have informed us that Putin has invited me to Moscow, but I think that if Putin doesn't want the meeting to take place, he should invite me to Moscow.
Although the formulation of security guarantees seems to be inching closer, any talk of peace remains far away.
Come to Moscow, Russian leader Vladimir Putin said about any possible future peace talks with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Putin also said that the Kremlin would consider any Western troops in Ukraine a legitimate target for his military and claimed Western companies are eager to return to Russia to pick up doing business where they left off. During the Eastern Economic Forum in the far eastern Russian city of Vladivostok, Putin said and made it clear that if Zelensky wants to talk, he can come to Moscow and that Russia would, quote, provide security for the visit. Kyiv dismisses any suggestion of Zelensky traveling to Moscow. The Kremlin has repeatedly indicated it doesn't consider the Ukrainian president legitimate, meaning that Zelensky's safety is not guaranteed. A visit to Moscow would also be considered a capitulation for Ukraine. Russia has maintained its maximalist goals of capturing the entire Donetsk region, as well as other parts of currently occupied Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will meet with Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico to discuss Slovakia's dependence on Russian oil. The meeting comes shortly after Fico complained to Russian leader Vladimir Putin about Ukrainian attacks on Russia's energy infrastructure. According to the Ministry of Energy in Kyiv, the Ukrainian president will meet the Slovak prime minister in the western Ukrainian city of Uzhhorod after his meeting with European Council President Antonio Costa. Ukraine has recently conducted successful strikes against Russia's oil infrastructure, with one of the drone strikes disrupting the oil pipeline linking Russia with Hungary and Slovakia. The governments of both countries have reacted angrily to the attack. In a meeting with Putin, Fico said he would like to normalize the relationship with Russia. Putin responded by saying Slovakia should shut down the reverse energy flow to Ukraine. The Slovakian economy disappointed in the second quarter, with growth slowing to just 0.6%, the slowest pace in 2.5 years. Although this final reading is slightly better than the initial estimate, economists are already revising down their full-year projections.
Prime Minister Robert Fico has another problem on his hands. His country's economy is slowing. The Slovakian economy grew only by 0.6% in the second quarter, a far cry from its performance a year ago.
The second quarter real GDP growth in Slovakia was the worst result in 2.5 years. It was basically the slowest growth since the second quarter of 2022. It was significantly less than has been expected.
A perfect storm of factors has contributed to the disappointing result. The government's hopes that the private sector would invest more have not materialized. Uptake of EU funds has not sped up. The economy of Slovakia's major trading partner, Germany, is still not doing well. And the country's exposure to U.S. tariffs is the highest among its CEE peers.
The lion's share of automotive sector in the exports is actually single most directly affected economy within the European Union when it comes to the auto tariffs.
What's even more disconcerting is that Slovakia is visibly losing to other CEE countries.
Within the Central and Eastern Europe is, I dare to say, disturbing dichotomy between two frontrunners, which is Poland and Czech Republic, and then Slovakia and Hungary. Slovakia fared a little bit better than Hungary, but nevertheless, there is certainly a reason for caution.
None of this bodes well for the rest of the year, with Erste Bank already saying that Slovakia will only grow by 0.7% this year, a third of what the government forecasted in its budget bill.
Poland has declared readiness to serve as a logistics hub for the coalition of the willing in case the long-awaited truce is finally reached in war-torn Ukraine. Moving significant numbers of troops comes with huge logistical requirements, and there is still more to be done. Krzysztof Jaworski, Deputy Director at the Institute for Security and International Development, told TVP World.
These are things like bridges, like roads, railroads, and these investments are already taking place. There is a perspective of additional funding on the European Union base level, and at the same time we have through more than three last years several good experience as Poland of organizing such hub. Of course, we cooperated hugely in this matter with US. However, Polish armed forces, Polish services already know how to do it. The question of the scale and investments is, of course, important question, but we are developing our capabilities.
The Standing Committee of the Polish Cabinet adopted a new draft bill that extends the special legal status of Ukrainians and regulates the eligibility of foreigners for the 800-plus benefit. This is a monthly child allowance widely received by Ukrainian refugees. According to Polish Deputy Interior Minister Maciej Duszczyk, the benefit will be primarily paid out to those with employment contracts, though there will be exceptions in special cases, such as for children with disabilities. The draft bill will now be considered by the government. This follows a veto from Polish President Karol Nawrocki, who requested new restrictions on Ukrainians.
The project limits certain categories of access to healthcare services. Most importantly, however, it contains provisions regarding the legal residence of Ukrainian war refugees and shows in which areas Poland should provide additional support to them. Yesterday, the project was recommended to the cabinet at the deputy minister's level. All fundamental issues have been clarified and only a few technical matters remain. This will be resolved and included in the project before the cabinet's meeting. Every month, the social insurance institution will automatically check whether a foreigner, not only Ukrainians, was professionally active in the previous month. If so, the benefit will be paid. If not, the benefit will be suspended and the transfer to the given account will not go through.
A verdict has been reached in the criminal case concerning the 2019 incident in Koroszczyn, where 10 tigers were transported in appalling conditions and stranded at the Belarusian border. 5 people were involved in the case and have been charged, including the transport organizer and drivers. A Russian citizen who organized the transport of the tigers was convicted of animal cruelty and received a 10-month suspended prison sentence. Additionally, the 2 Italian truck drivers responsible for the animals' care were each sentenced to 8 months in prison. The tigers had been stranded at the Belarusian border due to the transport lacking proper documentation before being diverted to Poland, where they remained at the Koroszczyn terminal. During this time, 1 tiger died. The surviving animals were later transferred to the Poznań Zoo before being moved to their final destination. Some iconic stairs in Krakow have been painted white and red, the colors of the Polish flag. According to local media, the municipal authorities had not authorized the repainting and are subsequently treating this event as an act of vandalism, which they've reported to the police. The colourful stairs on Tatrzańska Street are one of the landmarks of Podgórze, a district of Krakow. They were originally painted rainbow colours in 2013 and commissioned as part of an arts festival. The stairs have already been cleaned by the Krakow Municipal Cleaning Company, which used chemicals that removed both the white and red paint and remnants of the earlier rainbow design. And this concludes Midday Report. Thank you so much for being with us, and stay tuned for more on TVP World. Goodbye.